Heyo, Beaveroonies! This is the final OC intro video for this year's Art Fight season of 2026. Finally, I will be free. Just to let the new people know that Art Fight is an art trading and gifting game held all through July every year, and I have been telling you guys all about my OCs that I have up on Art Fight this year all through the month of July, and this is the final video for this year's lineup. And the theme for today is sci-fi, specifically space sci-fi. I love me a good space sci-fi adventure. Big fan of Star Trek and the Orville over here. Yes, sir. Okay. Mention section is going to be brief. I only want to mention Molly as I was playing around with her with a fandom AU where she is an alien, so yes, I love Molly. Mooches. I talk about her in my Apocalypse OC video if you want to learn more about her. Now to the featured characters. We have my two robots, Colliope and Palea. Colliope was once a human named Dr. Colliope Jonesy. She was a roboticist and she coded AI, not like generative AI though, ew, like cool sci-fi computer AI, you know? She also was a key member of the team who made the space shuttle called the Kaleidoscope. This spaceship was made for looking at space anomalies from a further distance, and it could go out a little bit further than ships at the time could. Unfortunately, the ship was caught in some sort of space anomaly that had never been seen before, and it sent the ship way further than it could ever manage to get back in a timely manner, ever. Colliope and about 50% of the crew managed to survive, but only just barely. It was a very traumatic event. And Colliope also finds out that she is in fact expecting a child during this time. And because they're so far away, they don't have access to certain medical equipment and services. And she's obviously very pissed off because she had just had a physical right before coming aboard, and she's mad that they didn't catch this beforehand. And she's also a little frustrated that her child will never get to see their home planet. And very likely won't get to live a very long and fulfilling life either. Colliope is also dying from an acute radiation poisoning caused by the accident. And she decided to keep the ship up and going and to be there for her child that she would need to upload her consciousness to a robot body. She uses her AI program Coda as a framework. That was over 300 years ago now. Colliope has mostly forgotten what it's like to be human, as she's been a robot far longer, and everyone she knew from back then is long gone. It's just her and this barely held together ship that she's still trying to navigate back home. That brings us to the rest of the cast. Palea, or at the beginning, is known as a robot named PMSA Mark I, or Personalized Medical Science Assistant. They are the first in a hopefully long line of medical robots that are there to help onboard ships in case there is no doctors or nurses available. PMSA happens to be on the ship that comes across a very old ship known as the Kaleidoscope. This ship was thought to have been destroyed a super long time ago. The only thing on board was another robot, but they seem to be different. After some time of working together on the new ship, PMSA started to grow used to Calliope's presence and factored her into her routines. Colliope helped PMSA pick the name Palea and form her own identity aboard the ship. Palea starts to have a glitch in her system that makes her feel... No, wait, not feel, or maybe feel is the right word. Palea was never made to feel. But what other word could you use to describe the sensation that she has when she's with Colliope? These two learn to be human together. Palea is learning for the very first time, and Colliope is relearning after going 300 years in isolation in a metal and wired body. I love my robot Yuri so much, chat. Also, Calliope's daughter is brought back to the present using some kind of space sci-fi time travel shenanigans, and her daughter is named Eden. The next pair is Sepia and Gwyn. Sepia is an Alinor, but for the first 60 to 80 years of her life, she is unaware of what she is. All she knows is that she was all alone and one of a kind. Also, that she would likely outlive anyone she tried to grow close to. Sepia had been working for the Awaiting Guardianship, which is basically my world's like federation or space organization, since she was just a child. She had tried out a lot of different branches, but so far her favorite was definitely communication and diplomacy. She loved learning about other people's cultures and about them, and learning other ways for helping the communication between the factions across space. This work filled a void for her, but later she does learn that she is in fact an Alinor, and not just that, but one of the last born, so she is one of the youngest. She has to also learn why and learn that the family culture that she always dreamed of being a part of was so foreign to her now. It doesn't feel like she fits in them or the people she grew up with, but at least with the people she grew up with, she understands how it works well enough. Gwyn Witch is a member of the Witch family, which in the Space AU are famous for their military work. Most of them work in the military branch of the Oasis Guardianship. Gwyn has seen his fair share of dangerous encounters. Some, or most, would say that they were probably avoidable and reckless, needlessly reckless. But when everyone in your family is in this field, you're always looking for ways to stand out. Gwyn was positioned on the ship with Sepia, and at first they would clash. He thought she just didn't take her job seriously because she seemed immature and would joke around a lot. And she thought that he wasn't taking his job seriously, but in a different way. But after working together for some time, they learn that they both do really love their jobs, and that they both also have issues with feeling alone and unseen, even though they both have fairly large families. They start to bond and grow closer, and Sepia still teases him and acts pretty immature around him, even now, but in her defense, she is only 80, and for an Eleanor, that does make her basically her early to mid 20s mentality-wise, so she'll probably grow out of it not too far in the future. Another really cute pair for sure that I very much love. They do share a character code though, so if you do decide to draw both of them, please double up the code to get the points that you deserve. Alright, my final character, Payton. Payton is a Star Trek OC mostly, but as all my OCs do have canon lore, in my canon lore, she is part fairy. That explains her ears. But in the Star Trek AU, she is half Vulcan. Payton is a medical officer who has worked really hard to get to her position. A lot of the time she feels as though she is second-guessed or looked over because of her being a woman, but she is not afraid to speak up when she thinks this is the case. Payton also struggles with emotional outbursts, though she is able to keep most of them in check usually, and also knows how it feels when they're coming up, so she will excuse herself in most cases. In the Star Trek AU, this becomes another thing that she's criticized for because in Vulcan society, they do not feel. Emotions are seen as inferior to them, so her having them is not great, and she probably most likely gets them from her human side. Also, she has a girlfriend in the main canon lore. That's Tabitha, Poppy's niece. I talk about Tabitha a little bit when I'm talking about Poppy in the last OC intro video, so that one is the heroes one if you want to learn a little bit about Tabitha's backstory, but it is a little different because I'm talking not in the Space AU context, but it's mostly similar. And we're finally done. Thank you guys so much for watching to the end of the video, and if you watched all of the videos in this little series, wow, congrats and thank you again, just wow. If you want to get your name at the end of my videos or just support me in general, you can become a Patreon or Ko-fi member, all that's linked down below. If you can't support me monetarily, you can still support me just by letting me know that you like the video. You can do that by liking the video and subscribing if you aren't already. You can leave a comment letting me know if you have a space sci-fi series or show or media in general that you really like. And I will see you guys in my next video, which will hopefully be sooner rather than later. And until then, bye-bye!